Today I'm going to talk about the Mexican drug cartel, the dangers of the cartel, how they're affecting the United States, and how we should secure our borders. Basically, the Mexican cartel is the most dangerous cartel in the world. They're responsible for homicides, narcotic-related homicides, beheadings, kidnappings, and the extortions that take place in Mexico. And they're crossing the border to the United States that borders Mexico, mainly right here in Southern California where I live, and I'm raising 4 children of my own. The real war isn't in Afghanistan, it's right here in our own country. What should we do to protect our borders from Mexico, the cartel, and other dangerous drug and human traffickers? We should look at different ways that we can secure our borders that include physically securing the border with walls and or fencing, ramped up border patrol, drones, and any other means that we can do to stop the cartel from selling drugs and committing violence in the United States. Why is the Mexican cartel interested in crossing the border into the United States? Well, criminal groups operating from Mexico smuggle cocaine, heroin, crystal meth, amphetamines, and marijuana into the United States. What analysts estimate that wholesale's earnings range anywhere from $13.6 billion a year to close to $50 billion a year, which accounts for 70% of all the drugs that are smuggled into the United States. That's pretty amazing. Drug trafficking is directly related to the violence surrounding the drug dealing combined with the illegal weapons involved. While we're purchasing drugs from the cartels, they are purchasing weapons from the United States. More than 7% of the 30,000 firearms submitted to the U.S. Department of Tobacco, Alcohol, Firearms, and Explosives for tracing by the Mexican government during 2009 and 2010 originated right here in the United States, and that was found on a CNN report. How does this affect you, the average U.S. citizen? Well, the Huffington Post reported that U.S. authorities are reporting a spike in killings, kidnappings, and home invasions connected to Mexico's cartels, and at least 19 Americans were killed in 2008 alone. Another 92 Americans were killed between June of 2009 and June of 2010. The sad part is, many children as young as 11 years old, which is the age of my daughter, are part of these violent gangs and are brainwashed to join the gangs and commit violence of their own. And basically, they come here from Southern California, go down to Mexico, smuggle some drugs, and are getting paid around $400 a trip. People that are living in poverty, $400 is a lot of money. Who is exactly responsible for the murders and violence happening? Well, most of the violence that happens in U.S. soil comes from the gangs that are in alliance with the Mexican drug cartels. Many of these members are Hispanic youth that are accepted into the gangs where a family atmosphere is created with a sense of power and wealth. They have eliminated the middleman, which is basically your average drug dealer, and now purchase directly from the Mexican cartels for discounted prices, so there's more money to be made. So it's a pretty good alliance between these two, which is very threatening. There's 2 major gangs in the Mexican drug cartel, and they're aligned with many gangs right here in San Diego, including, I'd say the biggest one is MS-13, the Arizona Mexican Mafia, the California Mexican Mafia, the Latin Kings, Los Negros, the Border Brothers is another big one around here. New Mexico Syndicate, that's a pretty dangerous one as well. This is where securing our borders becomes necessary. The government is spending billions of dollars a year on border patrol, which is including the money for the agents, the fencing, the drones that are in the skies, kind of like what we do over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and other means to keep the Mexican cartel off our soil. Recently, the U.S. government spent about $2.6 billion worth of fencing to start securing the border, which is going to spread out through a 600-mile radius, which is going to end up costing us another $6.5 billion over the next 20 years. What else can we do to protect our borders besides fencing? The government should set up military posts at several posts near the border, but this would take a vote in Congress, as it would violate a posse comitatus, which states that we cannot use military inside the country to enforce our laws. We should also attack the cartel instead of letting them attack us. Right now, they're firing shots across the border over here, and we're not doing anything in return. What we need to do is become more proactive instead of being reactive. Last but not least, finish the fence. I mean, we've been working on this for a long time. You either go all in or go out. If we're going to do the fence, do it from A to Z. We need to stop procrastinating. So basically, in conclusion, securing our borders by any means possible will help keep some of the cartel and drugs out, but it will not completely solve the problem. In addition to securing our borders, we need to curb our desire to take drugs by educating our youth and providing help to those who are addicted. We just need to squash the drug usage altogether. If we can get a good grip on that, it's going to take a lot of the power away from the Mexican cartel. The best way to kill a weed is to kill the root. We need to literally stop providing ammunition to the Mexican cartel by saying no to drugs and illegal weapons. What we need to do is keep our streets clean.